welcome to another episode of Stuck in My Mind podcast. I am your host, Wize, and today's guest is a powerhouse of faith and entrepreneurship. She's an author, blogger, podcaster, and serial entrepreneur whose journey has taken her from selling on eBay to running a podcast production company with her husband, Michael. She's passionate about helping others step into business, grow online ministries, and master the art of marketing with purpose. With faith at the center of everything she does, her story proves you can build both profit and purpose. Let's welcome to Stuck in My Mind, Teresa Blaes.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here.
Oh, the pleasure's all mine. I'm excited to have you on the show.
Well,
So,
thank you.
oh, so Teresa, you've worn a lot of hats: MLM, eBay, websites, marketing. What was your very first venture?
My very first venture. So that was actually selling some as seen on TV Ginsu knives that my husband had on eBay, and I knew nothing about marketing at that point. But I did know a little bit about creative writing, and he's like, "Well, I want to see what you can do," and I'm like, "Okay, I don't know anything about this, but we're gonna give it a go." And so, yeah, I pretty much wrote a story about these knives that, have you ever had a knife that you couldn't cut through a paper bag? You know, so I made up this whole like elaborate story thing and put it up on eBay and sold like 20 sets of these things.
And people might not remember what Ginsu knives were, but when growing up, these were knives that they would use to cut through. In the commercial, they would cut through beer cans and other stuff. And so, yes, I remember the Ginsu knives.
Yeah, but it was hilarious, and I was like, "Huh, I just wrote something to make money. Can I do that again?"
And I'm sure you did. You did do it again, didn't you?
Oh, yes, I did.
so, so at what point you thought college? At one point you thought college was the only path, right? What
Mhm.
shifted that mindset for you?
Um, so I had gotten away from my family. Long story to that. And I wasn't sure, and I thought, well, mom wants me to do the college thing. Well, and then I ended up reading Rich Dad Poor Dad. And that really radically shifted my mindset.
Mm.
Like, oh, because something he said, it's like, no, college is, you go to college if you want to learn a trade. If you want to actually make some money, you go into business. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
because if you look at it, right, everybody who goes to college, they come out of college in debt, right? Not
Yep.
and a lot of the time they're not getting a job in whatever they got their degree in.
Correct.
So you're already in the hole, thousands and thousands of dollars, right? You have no idea on how to manage money. You don't have any.
Mm.
This is something you're not taught. So now you're all these thousands of dollars in debt, and now you're here with a degree in something maybe you might not even be make it into a career. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's honestly, I think college is kind of one of the biggest scams that is foisted on a lot of people. Now, I'm not saying it can't be good for some people. For some people, they're called to go into that because God has a specific purpose for it, and that's fine. If you feel called to take on a trade to learn something, that's fine. I don't have an issue with that. I have an issue with the ones that are like, well, I'm going to go to college, get my degree, and whatever, and then I'm going to come out and automatically have a job waiting. That's not how things work. No. And I think honestly, it comes down to you want to do something. We've especially now with this thing in my hand, you know, and
Yep.
this thing right here. Yeah,
Hmm.
and yes, it was talking because I'm totally blind. This thing right here called a cell phone. You could start a business with a cell phone, and hush. You could start a business honestly with a cell phone. Like it would be better if you had a computer, sure, but you could start a business with a cell phone and an idea. Like,
Absolutely, yeah.
you really could. And we, with the advent of social media, you could build a page, you could there's a lot of stuff you could do. You could start a podcast today,
Mhm. Yeah.
you
I
know?
have I
And
have
you
the app. I have an app on my phone because I use Podbean to distribute my podcast. So they also you can stream live from the app on your phone. Yeah,
Yep, yep, yep. Well, and we use, Blueberry, for a lot of our hosting.
yeah.
I like Blueberry because they don't cancel podcasters for freedom of speech issues. I'm really big into that. Like, I don't believe in the cancel culture nonsense. I really don't. Like, that's not a thing for me. Um, but but the founder of Blueberry, who just recently passed away, he was really big into that. And so now I know that I could start a podcast. Now, could you get could you hire a production company like us? Yeah, you could. Or you could just edit it yourself and put it out there.
Mm.
You could start a podcast for under $100 if you know the right equipment. And believe me, it's not that hard.
Oh, you ain't got to tell me. I started with a $160 Behringer podcasting studio
Mhm.
that I got on Amazon, and for the first year or two, it was suffice because it was me learning and the beginning stages of my podcasting career.
Yep.
And so when I decided that this was something that I wanted, that wasn't a hobby, and it was something serious and something that I really it gave me purpose, and it helped me find where I needed to be in life, and it's helped me grow as a human being because of all the
Mm,
wonderful conversations and all the people I've connected with it and learned and been able to build with, right? So the podcast has given me so many opportunities. It's led me to launching my own business. It's helped me self-publish books, helped me launch an internet radio station. So me taking that leap and with like you said, didn't take my $160 podcasting studio. That's what it cost. That's what I
yeah,
started with. And I
I
was
get I
yeah.
hear you. I hear you. And so now so anyone that says, "We gotta have thousands of" no, you don't. No, you don't. No, no, no. Now, if you have that,
Rock
you
on.
will
Yeah.
accelerate. You will accelerate. But you don't need thousands of dollars to start a company. You don't,
Mm. Yeah.
okay? I'm really big on figure out, like, what do you wanna sell? And then just go for it. Like, what do you wanna sell? And so, there's a phrase that I heard a long time ago, and it makes a lot of sense to me. Find a hole in the market and fill it. Every
Mhm.
market has a hole, every single one. For me, my place is I help people find God in their story, and then for those that are ready, I help them share their story. I do this through life coaching, and I do it through, podcast production and other forms of media. We help publish books, we do a lot of things, So that's where I'm at now. That's where God has me right now. What about you? What are you passionate about?
You see everything you're talking about, right? Because I've launched my publishing company this year. We've I've self-published my book. I've self-published my nephew's book. I helped this young lady self-publish her first children's book. Right?
Mhm.
It was so like I said, podcasting has opened up so many avenues for me. Right?
Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
it's led me into I've become a certified life coach. I'm getting into speaking and and all these other things. And like I said, also launching the publishing company.
Yep.
So it's for me diving into this and me learning so many different things. Like you said, it's all right. I found the need because the first thing when I learned about publishing was we went to someone and when we published my nephew's book, like we bought the ISB numbers and everything, and
Mhm.
we got someone to proofread it and edit and
Yep.
all, and
Yep.
it cost a pretty penny,
Oh,
and
yeah,
and so I'm like,
but
nah,
it's worth it. It's
it,
worth it.
it is,
Like
it is.
like see, so here's the thing. I believe okay, someone might ask, "Okay, well, wait a minute. Why do you wanna have a book?" Because your a book, like, If you suddenly say that you were a published author, that
That's
changes the
another.
entire
Mhm,
friggin' mindset. It really does.
mhm,
Okay? If you then say, um, that I run a media company, well, I do. I have a media company. I podcast. I have, I do ministry podcasts, and then I'm probably going to bring back another marketing podcast and with a different slant on it. So, right now I'm in the middle of publishing a book that's going to be coming out in March. It's going to be my story. Um, you know, I have well, I'll be honest, I've got 12 books in the pipeline that I'm working on. You know, am I going to publish them all next year? Probably not.
uh-huh,
No, but I know what's coming. Okay. I plan on releasing Protected next year and maybe one other book. And that's it. 2 books a year. Why? Because I want to give them time. I want to give them time to marinate and get the marketing behind them and do it right. And you know, um I've had the privilege of helping someone publish a book around prayer.
mm,
It is and it's honestly a really good book. It's called Kneeling at the Throne. And I would urge anyone and everyone to go pick it up. It's on Amazon, or you could go find it at divine515.com. It's a really good book. You know, I enjoy helping people, and when you talk about becoming a certified life coach, I'll tell you what, that in itself, I did not ask to do that. That was something God kind of said, "Guess what? You're doing this." And I went, "Huh? Now how's that?" I enjoy helping people get out of their head.
yeah,
Do I have my own mental stuff? Yeah. Am I working through some stuff? Yep. Guess what? That's okay. Because I also know I'm a little further ahead, and my job as a coach is to help the person that's a little bit behind and pull them up.
yeah,
That's it.
and
Like,
you're absolutely right, 'cause sometimes, right, you hesitate, right, because you feel like, "Oh, man, I'm struggling with stuff, so how am I able to lead someone else?" But not knowing that you like you said, you're a little bit ahead of them, so you're able to pull them
mhm.
forward with you. So,
And see,
absolutely, yeah.
and my biggest thing here is, look, I focus on the Christian market. I focus on kingdom life coaching. So my job is to help people, especially those that have come to faith. I help them find God in their story. What do I mean? Every single person has skeletons in their past. Either you have skeletons that you haven't dealt with, even though you've come to Christ, but you still haven't dealt with these things, and they need to be dealt with so you can find some healing, or you haven't even come to Christ, and your history is a complete disaster area. Those are the people I want to help. And then for those that need it, I help people share that story through books, podcasting, and videos and websites. I mean, we do what we need to do. We help people get stuff done. And to me, I found my lane. I found my lane. And so, like, what's my point? Every single person has what I call a field of favor.
Mhm,
Every single person. Okay. I was also certified as a business coach through 100X, and Pedro talks about a field of favor. And here's the thing: you can go outside of that, and you can plant, and you can do your thing, but you're not going to see as much success as you would, say, if you found the perfect target market, your perfect listener if you're doing a podcast, your perfect reader if you're publishing a book. Who's that person that would just love your stuff? That absolutely 100% needs it. Who is that person? I know who it is for me.
mm,
Do you?
yeah. That's a good question. That's a question that anyone, any entrepreneur, or any coach, whoever should have kind of know the answers to that. So what was your aha moment when you knew entrepreneurship was your calling?
I would have to say, going back to that eBay story, I would have to say the moment that I realized I started selling things after writing something. I
Mm,
knew I was called to be an entrepreneur. I knew it. I knew. And it took me a while to find my place. Like, how am I to be an entrepreneur? I mean, I'm Because for the longest time, I was that person that loved entrepreneurship but also loved faith. My faith. And neither the two should mix. But wait, how do I bring faith into what I'm doing? How do I actually operate? You know? And it took me a while to figure that out.
And yeah, that's my next question. How did your faith influence your decision to take the leap?
Because if you look at the scriptures, almost every single person in there, all the disciples were entrepreneurs. Every single one. You had fishermen. Now, there were some that worked for the government. You had tax collectors because they worked for the Roman government. You had people that, in biblical times especially, you have Paul the apostle. Well, what was he? He was a tent maker, so he made his own way. Okay, but he used that as an open door to minister the gospel. Okay, and I have seen it time and again where I will speak to someone, and guess what? I'm able to share the gospel, or I'm able to encourage someone in their own faith. Maybe they, maybe someone's like, "Hey, I'm doing business, but man, I got this other here. I'm stuck here." Okay, let's talk about that. And so, my belief is yes, you can actually be an entrepreneur and be a Christian and do things God's way. And if you do things God's way, He will show you your field of favor, and then He will bless you for it. That's how it intersects.
Powerful. What were some of the biggest early struggles you faced in building your business?
Because I would say for me, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I mean, we tried a lot of things. We did eBay. We did one of those SMC, which was like a merchandising company, but it just no, it wasn't my thing. I did MLMs. I did Maluka, Legal Shield. Did a few of those. Made some good money. I think the biggest one that I actually did well with, and for the most interesting of reasons, was a water filtration company.
Mm.
And it was because they took the chains off when it came to marketing. They didn't tell you how you could market because I wanted to market it a certain way. A lot of multi-levels will tell you, "Oh yeah, you can market our product, but you have to market this way, and you can't do this, and you can't do that." I'm like, if the minute you start putting shackles on me, I'm not interested.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Because I'm an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs by nature love to do things differently.
Yep. Well, did you ever have moments of doubt where you wanted to give up, and how did you overcome them?
Absolutely. So one of the things that we ended up doing, um, we were running a local marketing company at the time, and we started trying to do the podcasting thing, and we ran a podcast called The Small Business Puzzle. But we were trying to be everything to everybody, and we really didn't niche down, and we didn't know what we didn't know, and it really didn't go anywhere.
Mm.
We got a lot of really good interviews, but it didn't go anywhere. And so we ended up shutting it down, and I really started questioning, God, what do you want me to do next? What now? Because I don't know. Do I want to stay in podcasting? If so, what the heck do you want me to do?
So that leads me to my next question. You and your husband Michael, y'all run a podcast production company, right? How did
Mhm.
that all come about?
It actually came about because of a podcast.
Mm.
I ended up having a crisis of faith, a major crisis of faith, after losing my mom and my sight in the same week.
Mm.
My mom passed away from opiates, and I don't know whether she suicided herself or she overdosed. I don't know, and I won't know. But then I lost the rest of my eyesight and ended up having to have my eye removed in the same week. And I had a huge crisis of faith. And when I came back and I kind of somewhat resolved it, where God answered, um 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 got answered, and then he said, "Hey, I want you to write a book." And I knew what he wanted. He wanted me to write Protected. He wanted me to write a book around my early childhood, and I was like, "Nope, I ain't going there. I'm not doing that." He said, "If you're not ready to write a book, would you at least start a podcast?" And I said, "Okay, I think I can do that." So I started the Unresolved Life podcast. It's a podcast seeking to answer life's most difficult questions. So I took on the stuff that makes the church uncomfortable. That led me to, well, what if we actually do podcasting for others? And so we were praying about what to call it, and God gave us the word. He gave us this word in on Christmas 2019. My people don't have a voice. I want you to give it to them. And then he gave us the name Kadosh Media. Kadosh is actually a Hebrew word. It stands for holy, set apart, or other than. And so we built Kadosh Media to help to give the remnant of God a voice.
Mm. So, so why do you believe podcasting is such a powerful tool for entrepreneurs and ministries?
I believe it's a huge tool because it is the most intimate form of communication. You are deliberately choosing to allow someone to come into your ears and speak to you. Now, sure, you could do that with video too. And, there is some overlap. But I believe at its core, podcasting allows you to speak one on one with your listener. Now, you may have multiple listeners, but
Mhm.
to them, you're speaking one on one to them.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how I feel when I do my podcast. Is that's one reason I made sure that when I was started getting real serious into it, that I started investing in a quality mic. I got me a quality mixer and camera because I wanted to make sure people who gave me something which was very precious, which was their time,
Mm-hmm.
that I wanted to make sure I gave them the best quality. I wanted to make sure that my sound came in correctly and everything. So it was important for me to make sure that I started learning about dynamic mics, condenser mics,
Yep.
what's the right settings for my recordings, what's the right setting. So these are everything I've started I had to learn because this wasn't my lane. I wasn't in media. I wasn't in radio. This was something that was like, hey, I want to, and something inside me was like, you need to launch this podcast. You need to launch the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Something kept telling me, and when I finally got the courage to do it, it just like lifted this big weight and gave me something like, okay, I can do this. And then
Mm-hmm.
once people started responding and leaving comments and everything else, and it started growing, I was like, okay, it
You
was
know,
that
it's
feeling.
funny. Yeah, it's funny. I remember when I first started Unresolved, I was scared half to death, right? I was scared half to death. And um I remember God pointing me to Psalm 91 where it talks about, if you're faced with terror at night and this and that, and he talks about, you're faced with fear, you know, the Lord will be your covering. He'll shelter you under the covering of his wing and all this kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, Lord, I get your point. So I launched the podcast. A week later, I get an email from someone who I guess someone had shared the show with her. She said, I'm going through this, that, and the other. And I was sharing your show with a friend, and I thought about killing myself. And because of your show, I'm not going to kill myself. That hit me because I didn't have millions of listens at that point.
Yeah.
I had one listener, one. And my content because I was doing an interview with a guy who lost his mom to suicide. That content saved someone's life. You asked me what's the power of podcasting? Why is it so powerful? There's your answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because of my podcast, someone didn't kill themselves.
Yeah. No, it's those messages that I receive from people that tell me how an episode how it might have impacted their life, right?
Mhm.
One a great example for me is I had interviewed someone, shout out to Frederica Benson, and she was a guest on, and then I had interviewed her again, and for some reason it got lost in the shuffle, right? And it was a year later when I finally released the episode, and I've tagged her in it, and when she read the description of just reading the description of the episode, right? She sent me a message and she was like, "Was this the episode we recorded?" I was like, "Yes." I apologize for the delay and everything. And she says, "Thank you." And I was kind of shy. I was like wondering why. She's like, "Because I started reading the description. I seen the thumbnail. You used one of my favorite pictures of me in the thumbnail. And the way you described me in the description of the episode and everything, I kind of lost my way, and I haven't been feeling like that person." And,
Mm.
and the episode kind of re re brought that back. It sparked it. It sparked that that who like okay, I kind of lost my way, but seeing what you're saying about me and seeing one of my favorite pictures, it's really helped me realize that I am still that person. So to get that message right and to release the episode when I did, it was that's when God had intended it to be a release because she needed it at that moment.
Amen. Amen. Isn't it funny how God works that way?
Yeah,
Isn't it funny? And sometimes he'll use the most unlikely thing to make it happen, you know? Because of my podcast, I'm a published author. I um I've written a couple of books. I've been included in a compilation. Um I have one book coming out. I have a book on the market. I mean, there's just God is just so good. He's so faithful.
yeah, no, absolutely. So at the beginning of this year,